저번에 이어서 하도록 하겠습니다. 기억이 대충은 나는데 정확히 나지 않고 있네요. 코팩 들어가야 되는데
Someone should take Toby for a walk.
Let us see how the rope was cut. The fibers at the end of the rope are smoothly cut. Let us try to find out what tool was used to cut the rope. The fibers from this cut appear to be different. The fibers from this cut appear to be different.
이것도 아니야?
If I cut the rope with a knife, it matches the original. My analysis table. It is useful for my work. This is where I keep my post. This is where I keep my post. Come on, Toby. We need the best nose in the British Empire on this case.
비글이죠?
I agree with you, Toby, that Watson's shoe is preferable to Mrs. Hudson's cold cuts.
Someone should take Toby for a walk.
어디 갔지? 잠시 코팩 좀 떼고 오겠습니다. 아이고.
Search, Toby.
이젠 내가 하긴 그 예전에 그 뭐냐 거기서도 했었죠? 그거 뭐냐 갑자기 전작 이름이 기억 안 나네? 셜록 홈즈 유언에서도 토비 조종하는 미션이 있었는데 뛰긴 하는구나. 그래서 저번에 저기가 안 열렸구나.
The intruders entered the shed for some reason when they were making off with the silverware.
뛰는 건데 뛰는 것 같지가 않아. 지금 뛰는 버튼 누르고 있어요.
The scent leads to the well. I should check it. The intruder's trail is lost behind this wall. The criminals left the house through the French window. They walked to the shed, then across to the well, before fleeing by climbing over the wall. I wonder why they chose such a winding route.
하나씩 조사해 봅시다.
Brave Toby, the best nose in the British Empire. This hook might be useful. This old suitcase sounds hollow. It must be empty. Small gardening tools, nothing of great interest. Bags of seed. Some empty bags were recently moved.
이걸로 끝이야? 진짜네? 씨앗?
There's something glittering at the bottom there, but how can I reach it? Silverware. This is hardly a coincidence. The Brackenstall coat of arms. It appears that we have found the stolen silverware.
이쪽이 좀 더 상황성이 있죠? 이것도 왼쪽이 좀 더 타당성 있어 보이는데 좀만 더 기다려보고.
The intruder's trail is lost behind this wall. Inspector, I have recovered the stolen silverware.
You are a wizard, Mr. Holmes. And where is it?
In the garden well.
Excuse me?
Unique, isn't it?
Rather absurd. What is the point of stealing silverware and then throwing it down into a well?
Perhaps it was used as a temporary hiding place, or simply the thieves wanted to get rid of it. It is up to us to solve this mystery.
Holmes, don't look at me like that. I don't know what to think about all this.
We found your silverware, Lady Brackenstall. It had not been taken very far.
Is that true? I am very thankful to you, Mr. Holmes.
Your ladyship?
Oh, what a horrible thing to...
We found your mistress's silverware.
Oh, that's good news. You really are as clever as they say.
Indeed. Let us try to open this safe. This safe can be cracked. I only have to pay attention. The dial will vibrate when it is set to the correct number.
부실금고로다. 술을 마시면 안 되는 거였구나.
It is common practice to keep one's valuables in a safe behind a painting. It should not really pose a challenge for a criminal. Antique coins, possibly of value, but they're scattered without care.
응? 내가 잘못 봤나?
Oh, what a horrible thing to have happened.
Sir Eustace's doctor speaks of his violent behavior.
Yes, Sir Eustace was an extremely violent man. A detestable human being, to be more precise. It is true that he once threw a decanter at me, and all because I dared to stand up to him in defence of my mistress. Sly devil. God forgive me that I should speak of him so now that he's dead. But a devil he was, if ever one walked the earth. We met him only 18 months ago. She'd only just arrived in London. Yes, it was her first voyage. She'd never been from home before. One with his title and his money and his false London ways. If she made a mistake, she has paid for it, if ever a woman did. She doesn't have any friends here, so it was especially hard for her.
잠시만요.
Oh, what a horrible thing.
Please leave my Mary alone.
The description of the Randall gang provided by Lady Brackenstall is identical to the one in the Times article.
Oh, what a horrible thing.
Please leave my Mary alone. She's suffered so much, she deserves some rest.
This photograph of Lady Brackenstall and her maid Teresa was taken at a port, but which one?
남의 집에서 이렇게 해도 되나?
So the lady and her maid came from Australia a year and a half ago on this ship.
지브롤터가인 뭐야?
Please leave my Mary alone.
Oh, what a horrible thing to have happened.
What do you know about Sir Eustace, Inspector? What was his reputation?
A charming man when sober, but an absolute demon when he was drunk. In such moments he was apparently capable of anything. Why, once he splashed fuel on Lady Brackenstall's dog and set it alight. Another day he threw a decanter of wine at Miss Wright's head.
The alcohol seemed to madden him.
To the point that we were forced to intervene several times to avoid a scandal.
벌써 결론이나? 이상한데?
Holmes, don't look at me like that.
그 나이프에 잘렸다는 게 지금 어떻게 해결이 안 돼가지고 저 가정불화로 하긴 이상해가지고 일단 추리 방향을 완전 바꿨어요. 사실 틀려도 뭐 다시 기회가 있어서 크게 문제는 없는데 그래도 너무 이상해서 서재로 일단 돌아오기로 했습니다. (1894년)
Here it is. The shipping company, the Adelaide, Southampton, London line, and its address. Interesting. It must be the place where they keep the records, including the one for the crew of the Rock of Gibraltar.
I think that if you pretend you're from Scotland Yard, they'll give it to you without any problems.
But I have another solution. I'll call in the specialist.
콜린을 저렇게 해보네.
Watson, I need Wiggins. Is he anywhere nearby?
He's right across the street. You can give him a sign from the window.
Wiggins, could you come upstairs, please?
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
I need a register, my young friend. If you could borrow it, there will be half a guinea for every one of you. I need the crew list of the Rock of Gibraltar in 1893 and their current employment.
I'm straight on it, Mr. Holmes.
Do you really think they'll find it, Holmes?
My secret police is better than the Yard in many ways.
3시간.
Here it is, Mr. Holmes. But we can't take it back. It's too risky.
Put it on the table. I'll take care of it. Good work, young Wiggins.
빌려왔네요.
I left it right on the table for you, sir.
This list shows the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar, on which Lady Brackenstall and her maid made their voyage. Lady Brackenstall does not know anyone in England. This must mean that someone on this list is our mysterious visitor. And these are the lists of the senior officers of the Adelaide, Southampton, London line ships. Let us find out who was in London upon November the 7th.
11월 7일. 아, 되는구나.
I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case. Mr. Jack Crocker was in London upon the date of the crime, and he is due to depart in 2 days. This list shows the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar, on which Lady Brackenstall and her maid made their voyage. This list shows the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar, on which Lady Brackenstall and her maid made their voyage. Lady Brackenstall does not know anyone in England. This must mean that someone on this list is our mysterious visitor. This list shows Mr. Jack Crocker was in London upon the date of the crime, and he is due to depart in 2 days. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case. I do not think that this sailor has any connection to the case. I do not think that this this list Mr. Jack Crocker was in London upon the date of the crime, and he is due to depart in 2 days.
아, 다 찾아야 되는 거야?
This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved. This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved. This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved. This officer was on a ship that sailed half a month ago. He wasn't in London at the time of the crime. This officer was on a ship that sailed half a month ago. He wasn't in London at the time of the crime. Mr. Jack Crocker was in London upon the
아우, 되게 안
This
눌려.
officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved. Captain Jack Crocker is our mysterious visitor. He was the only one around at the time of the murder.
This Crocker, do you think...
It would be interesting to meet him. Our young friend should be able to find him. Wiggins, could you find a way to bring this Captain Crocker here to us?
Here? Holmes, that could be dangerous.
No problem, Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, I was informed that you were looking for me, and I'd like to know why.
Yes, it is important that we talk. You will soon understand why. You are acquainted with Lady Mary Brackenstall, are you not?
Yes, I think I do remember her. From when I was first officer, but I still don't see...
It seems your relationship went beyond that of mere passenger and first officer.
How dare you?
Indeed, how reckless a feeling is love, particularly if one is prepared to commit a murder in its name.
Explain yourself this instant.
You are aware that the murder made the headlines of the morning press. You read the newspaper report, but to your dismay, found it much fabricated. Once you learned that I wanted to see you, you came straight away. You needed to know what I had found.
You? And what do you know?
That evening, you were with Lady Brackenstall, despite the danger.
I'm not afraid, Mr. Holmes. Besides, all of this is just guesswork.
You would be right, if there was no evidence.
What then?
Lady Brackenstall was tied to a chair on the night of the murder. And it was you who tied her up.
You call that evidence?
Lady Brackenstall was tied to a chair on the night of the murder. And it was you who tied her up.
You call that evidence?
아, 매듭이 있었구나.
Lady Brackenstall was tied to a chair on the night of the murder. And it was you who tied her up.
You call that evidence?
Yes, as she was tied with a sailor's knot. Your handiwork.
So, it's a sailor who's done it. That proves nothing, Mr. Holmes. I'm not the only sailor in London right now. Your theory is flawed anyway. On the night of the murder, I was aboard the Sharp. I was supervising the repair of a porthole.
At night.
That was an emergency. There was a leak. You can ask the ship's carpenter. He can confirm.
I'm sure that he can.
Perfect. In that case, we have nothing more to talk about. Good evening, gentlemen.
Holmes, what should we do now? Would you like to check his alibi?
No. There is no doubt that these men will testify in his favor, and there will be no way to check.
So, what then?
So, we must work with what we have. We have all the puzzle pieces.
Now I understand why you dissected the bell rope. What should we do next, Holmes?
Wiggins, could you ask Mr. Crocker to come here again, please?
Right away.
너무 빨리 끝났는데 이번 건? 다 했어?
Why did you make me come here?
잠깐만 이거 끝나가.
It is over. I know that it was you who killed Sir Eustace Brackenstone.
What?
I know, because of the height at which the rope was cut. The knife used was a sea knife. The knots were sailor's knots, and not least the sheer force that was put behind the killing blow. And because you are the only one who knows Lady Mary Brackenstall in London. And because you love her.
It's true.
It is time for you to tell us the whole truth.
I admit that I loved Mary madly from the first day that I met her. But I never did come to visit her, for I believed that she was in a happy household. When I talked to her maid, who told me everything, I was insane with rage. I was due to set sail for 6 months away. I wanted only to see her again. But it turned into a damnable nightmare when he barged in. He dared raise his hand to her. He was not even worthy of licking her boots. Oh, I regret nothing. I admit I killed the monster out of love for her. She will forgive me if she is able.
Lady Brackenstall already forgave you. She said nothing.
Mary.
But that makes her an accomplice as well as her maid. It places her in danger yet again.
Mr. Holmes,
You would not have managed to protect her.
till I die, do you hear me? Here is a letter that sets everything clear, and it is the one that should be disclosed to the police. I am the only culprit. Mary had nothing to do with it. Now it is time to end this.
아이씨 이거 막아야 되는데.
Watson.
It's over, Holmes. We can do nothing for him now.
Here is a case that didn't end as I had expected. It is entirely my fault. I know that you have already drafted a summary of the case.
다시 해야겠네. 아이씨 이거 어떡하지?
Its publication, if you so wish.
I'll think about it, Holmes.
Holmes! Whatever is going on here?
That is Sir Eustace's killer. He has performed his own brand of justice.
My God! But why did you not call me?
I apologize. Here is his letter of confession.
So much drama.
You have no idea.
그냥 막 누르면 되나? 아 이거 스킵 안 되나?
Wigan,
된다.
Why did you make me come here again, Mr. Holmes?
it is a...
It...
but that may... Please forgive me, Captain Crocker. I wished only to test your sincerity, and your words and deeds have far...
아, 잠시만요. 이게 자살 막는 도중간에 몇 개 있어서
far exceeded my expectations. See here, Captain Crocker. We'll do this in due form of law. You are the prisoner. Watson, you are a British jury. Captain Crocker, the evidence shows that you acted without premeditation and used reasonable force to protect an innocent victim from her husband's brutality. Your devotion pushed you to attempt to kill yourself in order to protect the one you love. Now, what say you, gentlemen of the jury?
Not guilty, my lord.
Vox populi, vox dei. You are acquitted, Captain Crocker. So long as the law does not find some other victim, you are safe from me.
Mr. Holmes.
It is a great responsibility that I take upon myself, but I will give Lestrade an excellent lead, and if he can't avail himself of it, I can do no more. Come back to your lady in a year, and may her future and yours justify us in the judgment which we have pronounced this night. Inspector, I'm afraid that the murderers have escaped us.
What? Do you mean to tell me that you've failed? Never thought I'd live to see the day.
I mentioned the murderers, not the case. It is obvious that the crime was committed by 3 criminals who cannot be the Randalls.
You really think so?
You only need to find a gang of 3 thugs wandering around. I can trust you to do that.
If they exist, I'll catch them.
You'll find someone, I have no doubt of it. Goodbye, Inspector.
자, 다음 사건으로 넘어가는데 일단 끝내고 다음에 이어서 하는 게 낫겠습니다. 너무 짧은데 이번 사건은?